somebody snapped their finger and there was no marriage between us, you know?
Right.
It was like, boom.
When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing.
But here's what nobody is connecting. For 9 years, the world saw a love story. Steve Harvey and Mary Shackleford looked like the kind of couple that had it all figured out. They had kids, they had history, they had built something real together from absolutely nothing. But Mary's version of that story, it's drastically different from what we've been sold. According to Mary, when she first met Steve, he wasn't Steve Harvey, the household name. He wasn't the man with book deals and comedy tours. He was someone trying to escape his first marriage, trying to rebuild, trying to make something of himself. And Mary, she didn't just support him, she invested in him, literally. When Steve wanted to start his comedy club and didn't have enough money for it, Mary gave him $250,000 from her savings to complete the purchase, and also did the interior design for the club so that he wouldn't rack up expenses. $250,000, not as a loan, as a gift from someone who believed in him when he had nothing. Mary describes feeling protected by Steve in those early days. She talks about how he became everything to her brother, father, uncle, protector. She had finally found someone she could trust with her family, with her dreams, with her life. She felt safe for the first time.
I felt safe for the first time in my life. So I said to myself, he was there. He was like the brother, daddy, uncle, everybody. And that meant a lot to me. And my family meant a lot to me.
That sense of security, it was about to become a weapon used against her. Here's where the narrative that Steve and Marjorie want you to believe breaks down completely. According to their official story, Marjorie attended one of Steve's shows. He saw her in the crowd, locked eyes with her, and declared right there on stage that she would be his wife. It's romantic. It's destiny. It's the kind of story that sells interviews and fills magazine covers. They tell a completely different story. When Marjorie first met Steve at his show, she wasn't interested. Why would she be? He was broke. He was struggling. He had nothing to offer her, and Marjorie wasn't the type to settle for potential. She had bigger, more immediate plans. At that exact moment in Memphis, Marjorie was running in circles with some of the most dangerous people in the city. Drug dealers, pimps, major players in the substance trade. And Marjorie wasn't just hanging around them, she was married to one of them, Jim Townsend, a major dealer in the Memphis drug scene. And Marjorie was so deeply embedded in that world that she earned a nickname, Lady Heroin. Not because she dealt it herself, but because she was that connected, that visible, that involved in the operation. Think about that. Her reputation was so toxic that she couldn't even show her face on a college campus. When Jim got caught and the feds took him down, Marjorie didn't have time to mourn. She moved on to Jim's cousin, Darnell Woods, another dealer, possibly even bigger than Jim. And Marjorie had a daughter with him, Lori. But Darnell's luck ran out too. The feds came for him the same way they came for Jim. Indicted, gone. And suddenly Marjorie was in a completely different situation. This is where Marjorie's real game began. By the time Steve's star was rising through the comedy world, by the time he was riding the wave from Kings of Comedy and becoming one of the most beloved comedians in the industry, Marjorie's options were shrinking fast. She had no legitimate doors were closing. So what did she do? According to reports, Marjorie made a calculated decision. She couldn't approach Steve directly. He was successful now. He was married. He wasn't the broke guy she'd rejected years ago, but she could use someone close to him. Big boom, Steve's bodyguard. Marjorie allegedly started a relationship with him, not for love, not for connection, for access. And it worked. While Mary was at home, while she was building their life together, raising their children, believing in their marriage, Steve was keeping Marjorie in her own apartment. He was paying her bills. He was traveling with her while coming up with excuses for Mary. And the more comfortable Steve made Marjorie, the bolder she became. At some point, Marjorie decided that being a side piece wasn't enough. She wanted to be the wife. She wanted the position, the title, the legitimacy. So she took matters into her own hands. Marjorie sent Mary documents, details about her relationship with Steve. She called the house. She made sure Mary knew exactly what was happening. She was sending a message. I'm not going anywhere, and you need to accept that. And Mary found out through the housekeeper, a package that burned her hand when she touched it.
The housekeeper, she brought it to me. And when she handed it to me, it was almost like that package burned my hand. I knew it was something crazy. I didn't want to look in it, but of course I had to look in it. So I opened it and I'm reading this letter. And the more I'm reading this letter, and her wording is so defined, it was like somebody was rolling tape. Her verbiage about him, like how he spoke, the words he said, you know, how he walked in the room, everything. She was like painting a picture of him being, you know, at their apartment or whatever.
The level of detail, the specificity, Marjorie was painting a picture so vivid, so intimate, that it was designed to destroy, and it did. When Mary confronted Steve, something shifted. The man she'd known, the man she'd supported, invested in, trusted, turned cold. Ice cold. He cut her off completely and started the divorce process. But here's where it got ugly. Mary wanted what she was owed. After everything she'd given him, after everything she'd sacrificed, she wanted to be made whole. It was fair. It was reasonable. People with power and money do when they don't want to lose. They punished her. Mary claimed that Winton came back from Steve's house with marks on his body, bruises. She filed a police report. She documented it. She was trying to protect her son. But the moment that report was filed, Steve's response was swift and devastating. He filed for full custody. Mary didn't have a team of lawyers. Steve did. Mary wasn't in 60 markets. Steve was. Mary didn't have Disney connections and book deals and social significance. Steve had all of that. The court system wasn't built for people like Mary to win against people like Steve, and he knew it. Mary lost custody. She lost consistent access to her son. She lost the ability to protect him from the woman who had orchestrated the entire destruction of their family.
You know, his lawyers came in, his team of lawyers and his entourage, and you know, he's a man with the power. He's in 60 markets. He's written these books. You know, he's socially connected with the programs and Disney and all these type people. It's easy for him to come to court and say, oh, this woman has no job. You know, socially, she is of no significance.
What happened next was psychological warfare masked as family dynamics. With custody firmly in Steve's hands, he and Marjorie had the space and the time to do something that Mary has only recently started speaking about. They systematically destroyed the relationship between Mary and her son. Mary became the outsider, the bitter ex, the one who didn't matter. Everyone shifted allegiance. Friends, family, even her own son's perception of her was gradually rewritten. This wasn't a natural drift. This was calculated. This was intentional. This was using a child as a weapon to ensure that Mary would never recover from the damage. And the financial devastation? That's still ongoing. That's over 18 years. 18 years of financial struggle. 18 years of watching someone who benefited from her investments rise to heights she'll never reach. 18 years of being erased. Here's what people need to understand about Marjorie. She wasn't wife material then, and the evidence suggests she's not wife material now. A wife doesn't seduce a man while he's married to another woman. A wife doesn't use access to other people as a stepping stone. A wife doesn't send threatening letters designed to break up a family. A wife doesn't weaponize her position to punish her predecessor and her child. Marjorie's entire path to Steve was built on deception, strategic manipulation, and the calculated destruction of someone else's life. And when people show you who they are, when they show you exactly what they're capable of, you have to believe them. The family-friendly image that Steve and Marjorie spent millions building, the talk show host persona, the relationship goals narrative, it was all constructed on top of the wreckage of Mary's life. The question isn't why Mary is angry. The question is why anyone expected her to be anything else. She was with him when he had nothing. She invested in him. She protected him. She believed in him. And the moment someone younger, someone connected to the streets, someone willing to be a mistress arrived on the scene, he erased her completely. And Marjorie, she watched it happen and did nothing to stop it, because Marjorie's entire existence in Steve's life has been contingent on Mary's moves. It's about using people. It's about understanding that she could never be legitimate on her own merit, so she had to become legitimate by proxy. And when that didn't work fast enough, when the wife wouldn't go quietly, Marjorie and Steve's response was to wage a campaign of psychological and financial destruction against someone who'd given everything. That's not love. That's not a marriage. That's a transaction. That's a power grab. That's what happens when two people with something to hide realize they need to silence the one person who knows the truth. Mary Harvey has spent 2 decades trying to tell this story, and finally, people are listening. Because sometimes the woman who's angry has every right to be. The woman who's scorned, she's not the villain in this story. She's the witness, and her testimony is irrefutable.
you.